This is Gemara Pesachim.
Where are we holding? Pesachim, Daf Yod. Pesachim, Daf Yod. All ready to roll? Yeah, we have more thoughts here tonight. Says the Gemara 3 lines down. We're middle of what we saw on the Test of Peas. We pointed out a very important Rashi. The Rashi there taught us that these are Piskei Halachas here. Rashi smack him in the oven. Rashi Divri Masel Tisha Siburim. Rashi said these are Piskei. What we saw on the Test of Peas. We pointed out a very important Rashi. The Rashi there taught us that these are Piskei Halachas here. Rashi smack him in the oven. Rashi Divri Masel Tisha Siburim. Rashi said these are Piskei Halachas here that we're going to have. And I think I thought I did a count, but I lost track in the middle. Something like 10, 12, 17 or something like that. Different random halachas. I don't call them random. That all obviously are first cousins to B'dikas Chametz. It says the Gemara 3 lines down, Tzibur echad shel chametz l'fan of beis batim. So we have a pile of chametz. In front of this pile of chametz, you have two houses. Bedukin that were already checked. Every woman's nightmare. You have her, she just finished checking her house, everything is perfectly clean. Big pile of chametz. So what happens? V'asa achbar v'shakal. An achbar comes, grab some of the chametz. V'layadina, we don't know. Ilahayol. And we don't know which house it went into. One of these houses now has chametz all over it. We don't know which house it went into. So what's this case? Hainu, the famous case of Shnei Shvilin. The case of Shnei Shvilin. What's the case of Shnei Shvilin? It's an arm to the Mishnah. Shnei Shvilin, there were two paths. Echad Tamei v'echad Tar. One path was Tamei. Why was the path Tamei? Rashi says it's a kever blocking the entire road. Therefore, the only way to get past that road is going to be you will become Tamei. So one path is Tamei, one path is Tar. V'halach v'echad mehem. And so you went down one of them. V'asa Tyrus, then you went down the path. At the end, there's some food. You touched the food, which was Tar. Now you might have just made a tummy. Your friend comes, he goes down the other path, and then he touches food. So what do you do now? One of you is vadai tame, and what is the status now of this food? Again, two paths, tame, tar, one walks down one walks down the other. You don't know which one you walk down. What is the status of right now? Says the Gemara, we have a machlekes. Rav Yehuda Omer, im nishalu zebef ne'atzmai, v'zebef ne'atzmai, tahirin. If each one comes and asks the Rav by himself, it is tar. What's the reason? So if you look at Rashi 4 lines into the narrow lines, Rashi says, Kol echad l'chacham sveikoi bifnei atzmai tahar. Why? Says Rashi important words. Safek toma b'rishos harabim sveikoi tahar. The reason is when we have a suffix in Rishos Harabim, the suffix is likula, and therefore in this case, if each person comes on his own and asks the Rav what to do, we're going to be makel on both of them. Obviously, it sounds a little bit funny because what happened? What are we closing our eyes? But that is the first opinion of Rav Yehuda. Zebav ne'atzma, zebav ne'atzmai. They are both dar. Now, what happens? Shneim bevas achas. Let's say they both come together. They both come knock on the Rav's door. Hey, where are you coming from? Where are you coming from? I went down this path. I went down that path. What does the Rav do now? Tameim, now there's no choice. Says Rav Yehuda, the Rav has to say it's tummy because one of them for sure is tummy. Okay. Rav Yosi Omer, says Rav Yosi. Yeah, you have a seat? You have a seat? Here, grab this chair. This chair is clean. You got a chair there? Okay, great. Rav Yosi Omer says Rav Yosi. Ben kachu, ben kach tameim. Regardless, it's going to be tummy. Rav Yosi says, no, we can't play games over here. Whether they came one after another, whether they came at the same time, says Rav Yosi, they are tummy. Omar Rava, v'yitem Rav Yochanan, and now he comes to explain further what this machlekes Rav Yehuda and Rav Yosi is. Bivas achas, tivrei akol tameim. If they come at the same time, everyone agrees you can't close a blind eye. Tummy. Everyone agrees it is tar. What is the machlekes Rav Yehuda and Rav Yosi? You come to ask for yourself and for your friend. I'm asking for a friend, Shayla. This is where it's actually real. You come to say, I want to know what do I have to do and what does he have to do. Rav Yosi midam lo lebasach. Says Rav Yosi, that's like you both came together. It's like you both came together, and therefore, what do we have to say? Tough luck. You're going to be out. Everything's going to be tummy. Rav Yehuda midam lo zeh. Vida says no, it's like Zeh Chazeh. What's the reason it's like Zeh Chazeh? Very, very interesting Rashi. If you look at Rashi, Rabbi Yehuda, a little bit cross, a few lines down, Rashi says, Hoyel ve'in kan shoyel ela echad, mishivin loy tahar. It's almost like, is the Rav allowed to say these words? Since there's one person in front of him, the Rav tells him, you are tahar. Tahar ata. Sharei, Safek Biu, we don't know. Ume Atzma Yavin. And now he's going to understand, if I'm tahar, what's going to be the story with the other guy? That's going to be a different story. But because the Rav, and the Rashi actually sounds like Shav Chaveri Kamo, his friend's going to also be tar. But the point is, the Rav does not have to say something which intrinsically is not true. Whereas when they both come at the same time, then that's one story. If they come one for his friend, in that case, it says Rashi, I'm talking about Rashi, particularly the way that he learns. Taisus seemings, he has a little bit of a different understanding over here. Rashi says the story here is going to be because I can tell you tahar, and I can say with a clear conscience, therefore it's going to be tahar. Now, what in the world does this have to do with our case? So again, let's go back. What was our case? Our case was we had a pile of chametz. We have two houses in front of it. One is tamei, they're both checked. Now, the mouse went into one of these houses. So now it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the same machlekes, Rav Yosi and Rav Yehuda. If you go back into Rashi, what'll say Rashi, speak out the case, says Rashi, v'gabe batim nami, im ba lishal zela atzmai, v'zebivnei atzmai. Let's say the two women come, or the husbands, whatever it is, come say, what do I do now? There was a mouse that was seen spotted in either my house or that house. Amrina lei, l'chol chad, we tell each one, yat asarach livdaik. However, then it's going to be telling this machlekes, and that is going to be, so in our case of the chametz, it's going to be the same din as the case of shnei shvilin. And we move along in the Gemara, safek ol, safek lo ol. What happens now if we have one mouse and one pile of chametz, and we're not sure if he came into your house? Says the Gemara, hainu bika. That is the case of the bika. What is the case of the bika? Uplukta to Rav Elazar v'Rabbanan, and this is the machlekes between Rav Elazar and the Rabbanan. What's going on over here? Says the Gemara. Tetanan, we learned in a Mishnah. Hanichnas lebika. You enter into a valley, and in a moment we'll point out what's very, very important about a valley. That's one detail. B'mosek shamim. Second detail, that it's in the rainy season, very important. We'll see in Rashi why these things are important. V'toma b'sada plainis. Let's just get the case first. So we have a valley. A valley has many, many fields. So in this big valley, expansive, I think is the right word. There are many fields. One of those fields is Tami. V'toma b'sada plainis. One field is Tami. V'amar. Now a guy comes and he says, I went into one of the fields. I don't know. I don't know. Did I go into the one that was tummy? Safek ol, safek loy ol. He's not sure if he went into the field that was tummy. Or Elazar mitayer, v'chachamim mitamim. Now, before we see their reasons, we have to see Rashi. Go down in Rashi, towards the end of the narrow lines, Rashi says, Bika is many fields, fine. Rashi says, B'mosek shamim. Rashi says, Havi bika rishos hayachid. Those are important words. Rashi says, in the raining season, your field is a rishos hayachid. Why? L'tama. Mimei shekavar tzama chazera. Everything is growing already. Ve'in rishos choladim l'kanisla. You don't let anyone into your field once things are growing, because they're going to mess up your plants. Ve'kayim alon. This is the flip side of the first case. Sofek toma rishos hayachid. Sveikai tamei. So if it's sofek and rishos hayachid, it's going to be tamei. Okay, so now, seemingly Sveikai should be tummy. So what's going on here? What is the machlekes between Rav Elazar and the Chachamim? So we understand really the Chachamim, why they're being mitame, because Safek is going to be tummy. What's going on with Rav Elazar? Says the Gemara, Shahaya Rav Elazar Aimer, Safek Bia Tahar. If you're not sure if you went into something, then we could be Mekel. Why can we be Mekel in a case of Safek if you went in? The Gemara does not say. We'll speak about that in one moment. Safek maga tama, safek maga tama tame. If you're not sure if you touched the tama, then you're going to be tame. So the pashut understanding of Elazar is, the first one is a svek sveika. You're not sure if you went in, and even if you went in, you're not sure if it's going to be mitame you. Whereas the chachamim are arguing. If you want to see in Rashi over here, let's see how Rashi says it. Rashi says, where's Rashi? Rashi says in the wide lines, Rashi says a chamitamim davli safik tama shesayachid. Okay, that we understand the chachamim, right? For Rav Elazar loy chashala safik tama ele im kein nichnas l'sadeh. It's only a safek if you went into a field. Avol in yedea im he'ehil, if you were a oil, if you were on top of the tama im loy. That's when it's a safek. Meaning within one field there is tama. So therefore, when I walk into that field, am I automatically tamei? Of course not. I will be tamei if I was over the corpse, if I was over the kever. The rule is, when you have a safek in such a case, we have to be machmir. Fine. But says Rav Elazar, if we're not even sure if we went into that field, that's a svek sveika. Now, what the reason I'm pointing on, says Rashi, Aval Hashta, Havale Svek Sveka. That is how Rashi learns. Again, Suffolk if you entered into that field, and even if you entered into that field, Suffolk if you went over the Tama, that's where Rav Elazar is going to be Mekel. It seems, why didn't the Gemara say that? It's a little bit interesting, right? The Gemara says Suffolk all, Suffolk all. The Gemara, we've seen already that the Gemara speaks out when we have Svek Sveka, because the Gemara should have said, Suffolk if you went in. Even, so there are those, I think, it could be Taisus again, that takes issue with this Rashi. Now, let's just continue in Rashi, because again, the Gemara here doesn't speak out the application back to our case of Tama. We're in the second medium-sized line of Rashi. Rashi says, "V'gabei batim," when it comes to your house, afilu rabbanan moeded, the kivim b'dikas chametz rabbanan, talnina v'kula. Therefore, we're going to be mekel. In this case, that we see a mouse that takes chametz in the chutzner, and the house is checked, and we don't know if it went into your house. So Rav Elazar for sure is mekel, svek sveka. Even Chachamim will agree. Why? Because derabanan b'dika we're going to be mekel. And now we move on to the next case. Yes. That is a very good question. That is a very good question, and I don't know the answer. You're asking really on Rashi, because if not for Rashi, we could have said that the Gemara is only going in the opinion of the Chachamim, the opinion of whatever you want to go with. Right, pick which one, whichever you want to say. Rashi seems to say, it doesn't seem, he says it very clearly. Afilu rabbanan moedai, the kim divis chametz rabbanan talin lekula.
There's a little base here that takes out these words.
In Rashi?
No,
in the Gemara. Very good, very good. Okay, so maybe Rashi didn't have that girsa, and then everything's very good. Okay, beautiful, excellent. Let's continue. Next case. Ol ubadak. The mouse went into the house. Then you checked the house. V'loi ashkach, and you didn't find anything. Didn't find anything. Plukta derameir v'rabanan. What's the machlekes? It's time to the Mishnah. Hayir rameir oimer kol davar shebecheskas toma la'olam hu b'temasai. Says Rameir, practical. You know something went in here, you got to find it. But Chachamim no. You check as much as you can check. You got to the ground, you got there, you can't find it, it is over. So it's going to be seemingly the same machlekes in our case. Seemingly it's going to be the same machlekes in our case, but actually over here Rashi says again, skipping in Rashi, going to Rashi on the first very, very wide line. What does Rashi say again? So the Gemara now is segueing, which is probably the reason why the girsa that you had is correct, that already in the previous case you removed that it's a machlekes, and rather in all these cases we're pointing out that it will not be a machlekes, everyone's going to admit because it's a din, tira banan. And we continue. More fascinating cases. Next case, and obviously every case builds a little bit on the previous case. All ubadak of hashkach. Now you go in, you chase down that mouse, and you find a piece of bread. Plugta the Rebbe Rav Shimon Gamliel. The Tanya. Sadish never by kever. You have a field that a kever was lost in it. You don't lose a kever. You don't lose a kever. You don't know where the kever is. Kvarim don't walk away, but you're not sure where the kever is. What's the din? Tame. You're tame. You don't know. Maybe you walked into the kever. Nimsa ba kever. Now you found the kever. Tar. Why? Says the Tanakama, very mistaver. Shani oimer kever she'avad hu kever she'nimsa. What you lost, you found. Always a fundamental machlekes, which we're going to keep on playing out over here. When you lose something and then you find it, do you assume it's the same item you lost? Maybe it's a different one. You were missing a kever. You look through all the fields. Oh, you find a marking. You find whatever you find. So do you say now that's what you lost or not? Says the Tanakama, Divrei Rabbi, yes. Shimon Gamliel Omer, no. Tibade kol asade kula. You got to check the whole field. The fact that you found something does not necessarily mean that's what you lost. So this is now going to play back into the same machlekes that we're going to have by chametz. We're going to say the same thing, that if you lost the bread, according to Tanakama, according to Rabbi, what are we going to say? You found the bread, givaldik, you could stop checking. According to Shimon Gamliel, no, you got to keep on checking, you never know. The Gemara continues. I'm sorry? What about crumbs? We're going to get to crumbs. I'm going to base, we're going to have crumbs. You put down 10 pieces of bread and you find? No, you put down 9 pieces of bread and you find 10. That's the next case. What's the case over here? So if you look at Rashi, Rashi says what's going on over here, that we're talking about Meiser Sheni. As the Gemara, the Brisa sort of explains a little more. Let's first see the Brisa. The case is, if you look at Rashi, Rashi's 4 lines to the end of the Amid, Rashi says, Hiniach mana shel Meiser Sheni, and then what happened? You find 2 mana. What's going on over here? So is that second mana also Meiser Sheni, or can we assume it's Chulin? Says the Gemara, no. This is going to be a machlekes divrei Rebbe. Back in the Gemara, kol chulin. We assume everything's chulin. How is everything chulin? You left meiser sheni here, so we assume you took out the meiser sheni, and everything that came in here is going to be chulin. So what does that have to do with our case? So it's going to be in our case the chumrah going to be a massive chumrah. You left 9 pieces of bread, you found 10. Says the chumim, the numbers don't add up. You know what that means? It's a new story. Your 9 pieces disappeared. These are 10 new pieces, and you got to go check your whole house very, very carefully. If you look at the Rashi 3 lines to the bottom says, they're not here. Second last line in Rashi. Someone else dropped the sun be the bread. You got to go check your whole house. And we continue. Now we have the flip case, which unfortunately we have sometimes. You only got 9 pieces of bread left. What do you do now? And this, by the way, is also the second. We mentioned the other day, 2 days ago, I think it was, how we had a remes to the minhag of putting out 10 pieces of bread. This is obviously also a bit of a remes. Says the Gemara. I just lost my page of Gemara. Here it is. Says the Gemara. Hainu seifa. That's the seifa of the previous discussion. That what the Tanya went to the Brayzini Masayim umatzamana. The opposite. The previous case was you left a mana of Meiser Sheni and you found 2. Now you left 2 mana and you came back and there's only 1. What's halacha? Mana munach, mana muta. Rebbe goes, we'll call it more like practical. Rebbe says, you left 1, you found 2. It means you just add another 1 in. You left 2, you found 1, 1 disappeared. Everything is fine. It'll be the same thing in our case of chametz. Chamer, no. Hakol chulin. We assume the first one disappeared and this is a new story. And now we move on to another case. I've written down here at the 9th case. I believe I counted incorrectly. I believe it's much more than that. Moving along to Yod Amid Beis. Hiniach bezavas zu umatza bezavis acheres. Okay, things are starting to move around your house. This is when things get a little bit crazy. You put the chametz in one corner, and you come back. Wait, what's the bag doing over there? So some of us are thinking, what do you mean? You absentmindedly moved it. Guess what? That's one of the studs in the Gemara. Hold on. Says the Gemara, Plukta, Rav Shimon Gamliel v'Rabbanan. The Tanya went to the Brayso. Kardoim sha'avad b'bayis. You lost your axe. Not a great thing to lose in your house, but you lost your axe in your house. Kardoim sha'avad b'bayis. Ha'bayis tami. The whole house is tami. Why is the whole house tami? Because you lost your axe. You know why? Shani oimer. Adam tami nechlas sham v'nalai. You weren't looking. You were sleeping. Someone came to your front door and took your axe. So therefore what? While he walked to your house, he probably also touched all your items. Therefore made your whole house tummy. Just because someone comes into your house, we assume he was tummy and touched everything in your house, everything's going to be tummy? What's the answer? Very balabatish, says the Rambam. Who walks into your house to take your axe without asking? It's also, you're not allowed to borrow something without rishos. Says the Rambam. So therefore, that type of guy that borrows something without rishos, he also probably wasn't makban on Tumah V'Tayra, and therefore, that's what the Rambam says. We'll leave it at that. Let's move on. Rav Shimon Gamliel argues, and he says, no, Abayi's tar. You don't have to be so worried. Shani Omer, look practical. You lost it. Shani Omer, Shilach, B'Shachach. How many times do you say, where did I put that? Wait, you gave it to someone yesterday. Says Rav Shimon Gamliel, it happens. That's one case. Says Rav Shimon Gamliel, or you took it from one quarter and you put it in a different quarter. B'Shachach, and you forgot it there. Says the end of Brisa. So Machlekes Rabbanan or Shimon Gamliel. Shimon Gamliel says maybe you absentmindedly gave it away, moved it, etc. The Rabbanan say no, someone else came and took it, and obviously the application in chametz is going to be the same thing. Do we assume that when your chametz is found in a different corner, that someone came and took the first part of chametz, and this is something different? Therefore, you have to check your whole house, or do we think no, absentmindedly you moved it to the corner and you don't remember? But before we get back, that says Gemara, Zavis man dechar shmei. Who mentioned in that brisa of Rav Shimon Gamliel and the Tanakama? Who mentioned Zavis? If Shimon Gamliel says, by the way, you moved it to the other corner. Who's talking about that? Says Gemara. The obvious answer. We're missing some words. Card. Now we fix the brisa. Card. You lost your axe in your house. Says Tanakama. Your house is Tami. Why? Shani Omer Adam Tami Nechlas Shavinali. End of case number 1. Case number 2. Case number 2 is your axe is not missing, your axe is in the wrong place. Says the Brisa, Habayis Tami, according to Tanakam. Again, why? Shani Omer. Adam Tami Nechlas Shavinali Mizavizu Viniach. While you're sleeping, someone moved your axe from place A to place B, and also was Matami your whole house. Reshimim Gamliel Omer Habayis Tar. Why? Shani Omer Hishil Achar V'Shachach. Shanal Mizavizu Viniach Mizavizu V'Shachach. And he forgot. And again, it's going to be the same case Back in our case of chametz. Amar Rava, says Rava, Achbar nichnas v'kikar b'pith. Achbar comes in, and the Achbar has a piece of bread in his mouth. For just to mention, interesting, they discuss, why is it always a mouse? Why is it always a mouse? Why is it not a cat? Something else. So I want to bring in this. They're making like interesting. I don't call them chasidisha. The person I saw from was a chasidisha. Pshat that the mice are gilgulim, and therefore when we're doing the mitzvah b'dikas chametz, the goyim are coming down in a gilgul in the mouse and trying to mess us up by putting chametz everywhere. Whether you like it or not, it doesn't make a difference. Definitely. Why say?
Before, no?
Yeah, no. But this whole daf, when we're having everyone mess us up over here, these mice are. You're about to see. It's about to get crazy over here. Let's see.
If it said cats, it would ask why cats.
Yeah. Say it. Go to him. That's the terrorist. Right there. Amar Rava. Achbar nichnas v'kikar b'pith. I'll just a little bit breather before we continue. Says Rava. A mouse comes in and has a piece of bread in its mouth. V'nichnas acharav umatzam perurin. What you asked before. Mouse, he left some trails. There's some crumbs on the floor. Sarich bedika. You need to do bedika. Why do you do bedika? You found the crumbs on the floor. Mibnei shein darko shala achbar lefar. Give the mouse some more credit, please. The mouse doesn't make crumbs. Okay, but let's not jump the gun right now. V'amar Rava, don't think this is your child also. Tina nichlas v'kikar biyadai v'nichlas acharav umatzah perurim, and you find the 12 crumbs after your kid. Ein sarich bedika. Why not? Because we assume those crumbs are the kids were holding him. We all understand that one. The kid makes a mess. So what's the difference between your kid and your mouse? The mice eat much neater than the child. Beautiful. But Rava says Gemara further. Achbar nichnas v'kikar b'piv. And the mouse has a bread in its mouth. V'achbar yoytzei v'kikar b'piv. Oh, great. Mouse ran in with the roll. Runs out with the roll. You're like, oh, Baruch Hashem, everything's good. Mao, what's it in? 1 second. Me, Amrina, do we say hi no hi?
Wait, why by Achbar do you have to check?
Why by Ach? Because the crumbs that you found, are different crumbs. So now you go, what's going on over here? The mouse eats very neatly. The mouse doesn't leave over crumbs. If you find crumbs, that means move right along. That means someone threw crumbs. Yeah, it means you have a kid. Very good. But not by a kid, because if you see the kid again, the house is clean. Kid walks into the room, let's say this room, one room, perfectly clean. Kid walks into the room holding a cracker. Great. You don't see the kid in the room, kid walks out holding a cracker. Or you go into the room after the kid, cracker's missing, you find some crumbs on the floor. So can we assume that those crumbs were from that cracker? You clean up the crumbs and everything is good and dandy. Says the Gemara, by a kid, yes, because the kid makes a mess, so those crumbs came from that cracker. But by a mouse doesn't make a mess. So if there are crumbs on the floor, it must be something different. You got to start checking again. Now we go in a whole lengthy question mouse splurge. Says the Gemara, let's go. It's holding the same cookie. It's the same cookie. The same one he went in with, he came out with. Maybe not. Maybe he lost it, and this is a different one. Now you got to check. The same one he brought out. White mouse goes in, bread in the mouth. Achbar shachar yaitse, black mouse comes out. Kikar repiv. What do we say now? This for sure is different one. It's different mouse. Different mouse must be different cookie. Or maybe no. He punched a white mouse in the face, grabbed his cookie, and ran out. Says the Gemara, don't get so excited yet. Mice don't fight. Come on, they eat their cookies very nicely. So Achbar nichlas v'kikar b'piv v'cholder yatsa v'kikar b'piyah. Ooh, now we got the weasel coming out, and the cholder comes out with kikar. What do we say now? Cholder vatim Achbar shalki. Of course, the weasel takes from the mouse. No, it's a different one. What would have happened? Achbar b'piyah would have had the mouse in his mouth. Would have found it. This is getting great. You would have had the mouse in his mouth. Have a Mishtakach would have been the mouse in the weasel's mouth coming out of the house. Tongue twister. Achbar nichlas v'kikar b'pith. The mouse goes in, bread in its mouth. V'cholda yatsa v'kikar v'achba b'piyah cholda. We got everything. The weasel's coming out. He got the mouse in one part of his mouth. He got the cookie sticking out of his mouth. What's then? We're like, what do you mean? Of course, this is great. Says Gemara, 1 second. Maybe it's the same one. No, he would have had it. Why? What's the difference? If anyone thinks about this, is great. The cookie should have been the mouth of the mouse, and then in the mouth of the weasel, if it was all the same one. Says the Gemara, 1 second. Or maybe not. We know what happened. We're playing out the story between Tom and Jerry, I think it is, right? The cat got scared. Nafal, the cat dropped the cookie. Vishakalte, the weasel picked up the cookie, grabbed the mouse, and therefore maybe it is all the same thing. Says the Gemara, gotta wait till Yohanavi, Teku. Beautiful. Now we got another one coming up. Says the Gemara, Bai Rava. Ba'i Rava, it's a lot of fun. Ba'i Rava, 2 lines for the white lines. Kikar b'shmei kaira sar. Oh, no, that was the end of it. I'm sorry. I got you excited. I think that's the end of it. Says Gemara, Kikar b'shmei kaira sarach sulam la'rida in sarach. You have a piece of bread up in the ceiling. Do you have to go get it down? Like, what's the big deal? It's sitting up there. Who cares? Says Gemara, mi amrinan kuli hai lo chachor rabbanan. You don't have to go so far. That's too far. Kivan tlei nachas min avshei. Bread, it doesn't fall by itself. What was the whole concern? What's the whole reason doing dikas chametz? You ready to bit? Because maybe you're going to find the chametz on Pesach and come to eat it. But you're not going to eat this. It's sitting up in their ceiling. I don't know. You never know. Maybe it's going to fall. How? Gravity. Things happen. Says Gemara, okay, fine. And if you're worried that I might come to eat it, now if you have your bread inside a pit, now, but bread doesn't jump out of pits. You're going to out from his own. You're going to go down into the pit to do whatever you do in a pit. I'm not sure. Maybe you're storing things, etc. And you come to eat it. You're going to go down to do your thing in the pit. Now, in the next case, you see bread in the mouth of a snake. Do you need a chaver? Do you need a snake catcher? Which there's a fancy word for, I think it's called a charmer. That's the article word over here. I was like, what's a charmer? But apparently it's a snake catcher. Says the Gemara. So you have to go hire someone to get the snake or not? So what's the shayla? Fundamental shayla. You have to do something. But you don't have to be my triach with your money. Teku, and that's how we end off. Let's just do the Mishnah, because the Mishnah we saw already, and we'll finish with that. Review you check 3 times. Nighttime, morning time, a beer. No. If you didn't check at night, you check until the 6th hour, the point of time to do checking. Until it's night, until it's Pesach itself. You leave it in a safe place. So you don't